So as I'm sure you would have found out by now, Sergio Perez will not be at Aston Martin for 2021. Why are people up in arms about this? Well, there's a few reasons. But as for who's replacing him, it's as clear as day as to who's going to get the reins of that vacant seat. In fact, actually, they just confirmed that. And I guess the purpose of this video is to determine if Checo booking town is a good thing, and whether Sebastian Vettel is the man that Aston Martin needs. Now, before any of you wannabe commenters come at me, for clarity's sake, there will be some opinions thrown around in here. But I'm not trying to barge in here with a holier-than-thou attitude about how I know best, because I kinda don't. I guess the point of it all is to determine if this is the right move going forward for all parties. And I think that's a little interesting. Kinda. Sorta. Not really. So let's start with the root of the whole thing. 2 years ago, Canadian billionaire and real-life Mr. Incredible, Lawrence Stroll, purchased Force India, beating out the likes of Dimitri Mazepin and Bad Santa. By all accounts, this was a fantastic move. It secured the future of the team, and now they had a little more backing to go with it. What's more, Lawrence knows his stuff when it comes to motorsport. You don't own a 250 GT and a racetrack if you don't like motorsport. But one thing that made everyone sketchy is when he brought in his son Lance. Because at that stage in his career, Lance wasn't exactly a trailblazer in Formula 1, and it just seemed a glaringly obvious family move. But I mean, hey, politics goes a long way in this sport, so this ain't exactly a new thing, and nothing really to cry about anymore. But fast forward to 2020, and we get the news that Racing Point will become Aston Martin for the 2021 season. Around the same time, we hear that Sebastian Vettel has been given the old heave-ho from Ferrari, which sucked, I guess. So far for Ferrari, it has been one Roland Emmerich scene away from being a total f***ing disaster, and the Ghostbuster turned team principal, Mattia Binotto, doesn't appear to be playing with a full deck. So, now that this four-time world champion is a free agent, he became a subject of interest.
No shit, Sherlock!
And so rumours began to build that Racing Point were looking to snatch him up for the 2021 season. Now at this stage, everybody was pissed off, because it was as clear as day which driver was going to get the chop. But if we fast forward to the present day, opinions have softened a little bit on the matter, because Sir Lancelot has turned a corner with regards to his performance. And as of the Italian Grand Prix, Sir Lancelot has a podium, and Checo does not. So the answer of which driver has performed better is no longer as obvious as what it once was. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, the team probably could have functioned perfectly fine without need to change the driver lineup. September 9th, we get the news that Checo is leaving the team for greener pastures, which at this stage looks to be Alfa Romeo, which isn't exactly a haven for outward performance. This immediately confirmed unofficially that Sebastian Vettel got the nod for the Aston Martin seat, and just hours later, it would be officially announced. Now, before I go further, I might as well just throw in 2 pennies here. I am a big Checo fan, and have been since he nearly beat Eyebrow Man in 2012. However, if Aston Martin are looking toward the future here, and given Sir Lancelot's performance so far in the 2020 season, this is most probably the best move. I'm not trying to win favour here, I'll just call it as I see it. So Stroll is a good choice for that second seat. But is Seb the man that Aston Martin needs to go forward? And I'm sure at this stage, quite a few of you are screaming at your screens over this. But don't, it's not as if I can hear you. But it is an important question, because after all, they just dumped a man responsible for most of their recent podiums, and saving their team in the long haul. If you were to judge by Seb's last couple of seasons at Ferrari, prospects don't look totally amazing. Bad car or not, crappy team or otherwise, if you're going to have a franchise player leading the team, you really need to make sure they're not going to spin every so often. And honestly, if it becomes a meme, it's probably not a good thing, but with 4 world titles, it's a given that he'll be majorly successful with the team, right? Well, actually, we don't know that. Seb seems to be somewhat reliant on a car with a predictable rear end. Not saying he's a crap driver, I'm just saying that that's sort of his style. He doesn't seem comfortable with something that'll kick the back end out through the corners. And this is something highlighted when attempting to drive this year's Fiat. But would this be so much of an issue at Aston Martin? No, not really. Because this year's Racing Point is a lot more stable than the Fiat. It seems a car that Seb will be a lot more comfortable with, and in turn, he should produce results that'll take the team a little bit further than if they were to retain their current lineup. And hey look, at the end of the day, if one bad season is all it takes for people to lose faith in a driver, none of us would have had any faith in Lewis Hamilton from 2011 onwards. But of course, we all know how that went. I guess the point is that while the 2020 season has been wretched for Seb, the thought of him in an Aston Martin seat, with a car that won't flip out on him, is tantalising. But then there's the other side of the coin. What if Seb doesn't perform? What if all this trouble and expense is all for naught? Well, it will never be for naught, because a marquee name like Seb will only accentuate the brand even further. This is crucial for Lawrence because, of course, he is a majority shareholder in the whole Aston Martin company. Could this all work? Of course it can, and it most probably will. After all, Lawrence is not a dumb guy. He didn't become insanely rich by making stupid decisions, although having said that, being that rich does allow him to do some things such as purchasing an expensive RV for 5 weeks and leaving it to rot at the national airport. Sure, Lawrence, we really needed that. So, where can Checo go? Well, the main candidate at this point is Alfa Romeo, and there might be a good selection if Kimi Raikkonen retires and the team dumps Italian Jesus. The prospect of a Perez-Schumacher lineup at Alfa Romeo next year is mouth-watering. But the way I look at it, either Checo stays in the game and helps build a team back up the grid, or he retires in a car that's fast enough to reward him with a podium. Either way, it's not a totally bad outlook. So when all is said and done, you have to hand the seat over to a driver who is the most promising prospect for the future, who has pace to burn, can provide as a marquee player for the brand, and can steer the team toward a championship. It's a lot to ask of a driver, but that can be found. And that driver is neither of these. Yeah, you knew I'd do that, didn't you? So anyway, thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. And I guess the question I have for you all is, how do you think Seb will do in his Aston Martin seat? You guys know the drill. Comment below. And remember, keep it respectful, be wholesome, don't be a menace, or you can be one. I really don't give a fuck.